Hello, what's up YouTube? This is Aaron Warrington here with a video about my recent Yu-Gi-Oh! Indy regional experience when we were running King Agents. Um, we'll go over some of the highlights and talk about what we noticed about the event and decks we faced. Going into this event, I was expecting to face a bunch of Mystic Mind players, Sword Soul. However, from what I've seen and played against, that was not the case. I've seen a bunch of Eldritch Adventures, Eldritch Branded, Dinomorphia was out there, uh, Theron, a few Sword Soul, and Despias. The decks we faced in round one was Eldritch Adventure. We lost 2-0-2. Uh, we just couldn't see what we needed to. We bricked. Round two against Sky Striker Mine, we won a 2-0 match. Um, and round three, Shadows, we won 2-1. And during this event, we had a special where we were able to get a lunch break, which was very needed and much appreciated. Uh, so thank you again for running that event. Shout out for them. Round four was against Dark Magician. We won just straight up the first round, and he scooped up. And I summoned my deck boss combo monster, the King Calamity, and my opponent just scooped the match. And round five, we faced against Punk Ethereon, which we lost 2-0 to. Made us humble again, you know. Couldn't win them all. Um, Round six, we faced against Brandon Despia. 2-0, my opponent more or less bricked 2 times, but they made us go first in game two, and I just like, what? And created my combo, and they could not play. Round seven was Adventure Eldritch that was running a King Calamity like myself. I lost 2-0 to it. Round 8, we're facing against Sword Soul, winning a 2-1, very close match, very close to time. Round 9, we faced a true branded Despia. The first one wasn't anywhere near this. Um, he used Chimera Loop with Mirror Jade, and I lost 2-0-2. I just could not see enough, and being hand trapped was enough to make me lose my invite because of this. Um, I was running the Pure Agents, which is the King Agents, um, and you can check out my deck profile that I just recently posted, um, going into detail about that. Um, so it wasn't really the amount of wins that really was a big thing for me. It was what I won against. It was against the Sword Soul. It was against the Sky Striker. It was the thing that I really wanted to beat because I thought that was what I was going to be facing a lot of. Apparently, that was not the case. And when we were checking out the rest of the event, we just saw a lot of Therion, a lot of Punk, a lot more adventures, and some other just random stuff in the metagame out there. I do want to shout out to Shaggy, which was my Sword Soul opponent. It we bonded over that game. It was a very close game, close to the end of the round. Um, so a little bit of context: what happened in Game 3? I let my opponent go first. I don't know why I did. I won game one, lost game two due to change of heart um, and kaijus. I don't know why I let him go first, but I let him go first, and he brings out his level 10 synchro for burn damage. We have 4 minutes left in round, and my I start my turn and I opened with Regeki and a small line of cards to do minimal combo, and including Crossout Designator. So I Regeki his board. I take another 12, and as I was trying to push for more because I don't need that much to do that, um, my card Neptune that lets me get Sanctuary in the Sky got ashed, and I wasn't sure if I sided out Ash, so I card designated a card that I knew I had in my deck, and if I had another play, I could play through Nib. So I called Nibiru, um, which then, as I was picking out the Nib, I did see that I did lose Ash in the sideboard. Um, and he had just one extra negate, so I couldn't extend. So I had minimal board presence, and I was able to push for damage. We kept going, and because we're burning time, we kept going back and forth. Um, and he was using droplets to keep paying his cards to half damage because he doesn't have any extenders or starters. And a couple turns go by, and I take it for the win with uh, about 1 minute left, which was a very good game. In my Shadal matchup during round 3, I was able to king lock him game 1. He didn't even know what that was. Game 2 was a grind fest, but I lost to. Did I lose to Change of Heart in this one? Apparently I lost to Change of Heart in this one. Game 3, yes, it was Change of Heart. I remember. Change of Heart. We were left with a total of 3 minutes left in the round. So we go to game 3, and I use my combos and cards that would give me life points without spending any. Summoned enough monsters that I wouldn't lose to a normal summon attack and wouldn't lose the game. So I pass with just under a minute left. My opponent draws, standby, and then the time has expired. My opponent was either just thinking about his move or couldn't believe he bricked or thinking about how to deal damage. The life was 85 to 80. I had some pretty beefy monsters. Round 2, game 1, this is the Sky Striker matchup. I opened the Scythe Lock and with the Sanctum, and my opponent didn't see Ray, but he summoned Rose. So and then since he couldn't go into his link plays, I was able to kill his monster. Doesn't come back. Next turn he summons DPE, and then he uses DPE's effect to pop something on my board, and I go and summon Majesty Hyperion, banish both DP and Celestial, so that the player was forced to summon Dasher, and during his next turn he summons Dasher, then he plays Mystic Mine, because he's Mystic Mine Sky Strikers. And he had no other cards left to play. So I drew for turn, and I used my current board state, which was, I believe it was Dagda and 2 other monsters. It was Hyperion and something else. And I used them to make Unchained Abomination, and I passed turn. Since we both have the same number of cards, monsters on the field, Mystic Mine destroyed itself, and since a card was destroyed by a card effect, Abomination was able to pop the Dasher, and then my opponent had to draw for a turn, and drew Widow Anchor, set Widow Anchor and pass during the end phase. Abomination can pop another card. Popped it, and that was game one. Game two, in that I had Scythelock ready. However, I got Dark Ruler no more, so I couldn't do it. I had the normal Scythelock with Dagda and um, Alki Fibrax. And then he summoned Pancreatops. He attacks with Pancreatops and neglects to use his effects. Passes turn into me, and I drew into Crossout Designator. And I, and just to note that in game two, I cited in Pancreatops, thinking it was a good option to face against Mystic Mine. So I wasn't thinking that he would summon it, but he did, and Pancreatops was still in my deck. So I created enough for game and tried to pop his card, and he chose to use his effect then, and I used Crossout Designator, and that was the round. Um, my legendary victories and strength of the deck was widely talked about at the regional, spreading fear amongst the players at the event. It made me happy and made my losing the last round, uh, make it feel like I was even winning, because I have never had that much of an impact that a lot of people were talking about. Uh, my more or less pure version of the deck. Um, and then I learned that there was a Marine Princess that top aided that wasn't far from being completely undefeated uh, against all the decks in the format. I only learned this after the tournament, uh, and that I would like to shout out a bunch of people, but I just can't remember everyone's names. But I do want to shout out Shaggy again, Kendrick, Ashman, Billy, Guardian Games for hashtag not sponsored, um, for having a crossout designator that I needed to pick up for the event, and getting me through the line quickly and allowing me to finish my deck list and turning in the day of. And here's the end card. Yu-Gi-Oh! These days is very different than before. There isn't just one best deck out there. There's a bunch of decks out there that are powerful enough to play in against many other decks out there, keeping the diversity up, making it both fun and unpredictable. I did see a few players playing Mouse Stick, a card that I use, which made me really, really happy. You should pick up playsets of this stuff. Um, it's only pennies now, but it's very good to see players running it. They're using it mainly for um, Mystic Mine, but there's other interactions that help against other things, but it's just a free body that gets summoned. It's a Cyberse monster. It's really good. Keep an eye out for the meta change. It's going to happen again. It's always happening. And stay tuned, stay safe, and good luck.